Hi, I'm Mackenzie. Before I continue, please like and subscribe. One click from you means more stories can be shared. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers and make a difference. Let's begin. The day I became valedictorian should have been the proudest moment of my 18 years. Instead, it became known as the slap heard around the school district. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Mackenzie, have you finished your speech yet? Mom called from downstairs, her voice carrying that worried tone I'd grown accustomed to. Almost done, I shouted back, staring at my laptop screen, cursor blinking mockingly on a half-finished document. Your grandmother's already texting me about it. She wants to review it before graduation. I rolled my eyes so hard I nearly strained something. It's my speech, Mom, not hers. I know, sweetheart, but you know how she gets. That was the understatement of the century. Grandma Eleanor wasn't just controlling. She was a tactical commander of other people's lives. Her battlefield, our family. Her primary weapon, guilt, with a side of financial manipulation. My phone buzzed with a text from my best friend Zoe. Your grandma just called my mom asking if I've seen your speech? Seriously? Unbelievable, I muttered, typing back. Sorry, she's in full control freak mode. My dad knocked gently on my bedroom door before poking his head in. How's it coming, champ? It would come better if Grandma wasn't trying to micromanage it, I said, leaning back in my chair. Why does she care so much? Dad sighed, coming in to sit on my bed. Your grandmother has expectations. Always has. But it's my achievement. I worked for this, not her. I know, Dad said, his expression softening. Your mom and I are incredibly proud of you, regardless of what you say in that speech. Just remember that. Thanks, Dad. Your mom wants me to remind you that dinner's at Grandma's tonight, pre-graduation celebration. I groaned. Do I have to go? You know the answer to that. Later that evening, Grandma's dining room felt like a courtroom, with me on trial and her as judge, jury, and executioner. So, Grandma said, precisely placing her fork on her plate, am I finally going to hear this speech of yours? It's not quite finished yet, I replied, pushing food around my plate. Not finished? Graduation is 3 days away, Mackenzie. I'm aware of the date, Grandma. Mom shot me a warning look across the table. I'd like to review it, Grandma continued as if I hadn't spoken. After all, I've invested quite heavily in your education. There it was, the financial card. She never missed an opportunity to remind us that she helped pay for my private school tuition after Dad lost his job 3 years ago. The speech is personal, I said carefully. I'd rather keep it between me and the graduation committee. Grandma's eyes narrowed. After everything I've done for you. Eleanor, my dad interrupted. It's Mackenzie's achievement. Let her handle it her way. Stay out of this, James, she snapped. Your financial contributions to this family have been lacking, so your input carries less weight. The table fell silent. Mom looked down at her plate. Dad's jaw tightened. Don't talk to Dad like that, I said, feeling heat rise to my face. Excuse me? Grandma's voice dropped to that dangerous octave. You heard me. Dad works incredibly hard. Just because he doesn't make as much money as you doesn't mean his opinion matters less. Mackenzie, Mom whispered. Please. No, Sarah, let her speak, Grandma said coldly. I'm fascinated by this display of ingratitude. It's not ingratitude to defend my father from your constant put-downs, I replied, hands trembling under the table. Grandma turned to my mother. This is what happens when you don't discipline properly, Sarah. I told you private school would give her ideas above her station. Above my station? I laughed incredulously. What century are you living in? Mackenzie, enough, Mom said firmly. Yes, Mackenzie, enough, Grandma mimicked. Now, about that speech, I expect a draft in my email by tomorrow morning. No. What did you say to me? I said no. It's my speech, my accomplishment. I don't need your approval. Grandma's face hardened like cement. You wouldn't even be valedictorian without my money putting you in that school. I earned valedictorian through hard work and straight A's, I countered. Your money just bought the uniform. We should go, Dad said, standing abruptly. Thank you for dinner, Eleanor. Sit down, James. No one is leaving until this disrespect is addressed. My phone buzzed with another text from Zoe. How's dinner with the dragon lady? I almost smiled before catching Grandma's glare. Who's that? She demanded. Just Zoe. Give me your phone. What? No. Eleanor, Mom intervened. That's not necessary. If she has nothing to hide, she has nothing to fear, Grandma insisted. I'm not giving you my phone, I said firmly. I'm 18, not 8. As long as I'm paying for your education and future college expenses, you'll do as I say. That's when the idea first sparked. A dangerous, liberating thought. What if I didn't need her money anymore? Graduation day arrived with perfect weather and imperfect family dynamics. I sat in my cap and gown, listening to Principal Harris welcome everyone. You okay? Zoe whispered from beside me. Ask me after my speech, I replied. From the audience, I could see my parents sitting stiffly next to Grandma, who wore an expression like she'd smelled something unpleasant. And now, Principal Harris announced, I am honored to introduce this year's Valedictorian, a student who has maintained perfect grades while participating in debate club, student government, and community service, Mackenzie Taylor. The applause felt distant as I approached the podium, my revised speech clutched in my hands. Thank you, Principal Harris, I began, voice steady despite my racing heart. Fellow graduates, teachers, family, and friends, today marks not just an ending, but a beginning. I saw Grandma lean forward expectantly. My journey to this podium hasn't been straightforward. I've learned that success isn't just about grades or achievements. It's about integrity, self-respect, and standing up for what's right. My parents exchanged glances. This wasn't the speech I'd shown them. I've been fortunate to have supportive teachers and friends, and I've been fortunate to have parents who taught me that character matters more than status. Grandma's smile was fading. I've also learned that some people use their resources not to lift others up, but to control them. That financial support can be both a blessing and a weapon. The audience grew uncomfortably quiet. Today, I'm announcing that I've declined the private university acceptance that was expected of me. Instead, I've accepted a full academic scholarship to State University, where I'll study on my own terms, free from... That's when it happened. Grandma had risen from her seat, marched up to the stage, and before anyone could react, slapped me hard across the face. Ungrateful bastard, she hissed, loud enough for the microphone to catch. Gasps erupted across the audience. Principal Harris jumped to his feet. My father was already rushing forward. Mrs. Taylor, Principal Harris exclaimed, reaching us. Security! Do you have any idea what you've done? Grandma seethed, seemingly oblivious to the hundreds of witnesses. I think I do, I replied, holding my stinging cheek. I've set myself free. The next few minutes were chaos. Security escorted Grandma away. My parents reached the stage, Mom crying, Dad looking both furious and concerned. Are you okay? Dad asked, examining my face. I'm fine, I assured him. Better than fine, actually. Principal Harris approached us, looking shaken. Mackenzie, I am so sorry. What your grandmother did is completely unacceptable. Do you want to press charges? I looked at my parents. No, I said finally, but I would like to finish my speech. He nodded and I returned to the podium as the crowd settled. As I was saying, I continued, my voice stronger now, I've chosen to follow my own path. And I've learned that true support comes without strings attached. To everyone graduating today, I hope you find the courage to make choices that honor your authentic self, not someone else's vision for you. The applause when I finished was deafening. After the ceremony, several classmates surrounded me in the reception area. That was incredible, my debate team partner Jamie said, hugging me tightly. I can't believe your grandmother did that. Are you really okay? Asked Tina, another friend, eyeing the red mark still visible on my cheek. Honestly, I feel liberated, I replied, like I can finally breathe. My English teacher, Mrs. Winters, approached with tears in her eyes. Mackenzie, in 30 years of teaching, I've never seen such courage. Your speech was everything teaching is about. Finding your voice. Thank you, I whispered, feeling overwhelmed by the support. Your grandmother left quite the impression, Principal Harris said, joining our circle. The superintendent wants to speak with you. There may be legal implications. I understand, I nodded. For what it's worth, he added quietly. That was the most meaningful valedictorian speech I've heard in my career. Sometimes the most important lessons happen outside the classroom. Mom appeared at my side, her eyes still red, but her posture determined. Several parents are asking if you're all right. Tell them I'm more than all right, I replied, squeezing her hand. Tell them I'm free. Later that evening, as we sat in our living room, the doorbell rang. Uncle Robert, my mom's brother, stood on our porch looking grim. I heard what happened, he said, stepping inside. Mom's on the warpath. Let her be, Mom replied, sounding tired. There's something you should know, Uncle Robert continued, pulling out a folder. I've been doing some digging. Mom's been manipulating this family for years, and I have proof. What kind of proof? Dad asked. Financial records, letters, evidence that she deliberately sabotaged your job application at Hansen Corp 3 years ago, James. What? Dad's face paled. She wanted you dependent on her, Uncle Robert explained. She did the same thing to me, to Sarah, to all of us. How did you find this out? Mom asked, her voice barely a whisper. Her assistant reached out to me. Apparently, she's been having second thoughts about some of Mom's methods. I don't understand, I said. Why would she do this? Control, Uncle Robert stated simply. It's always been about control. The next morning, Grandma arrived unannounced, walking into our house like she owned it. I hope you've all had time to reflect on yesterday's disgraceful behavior, she announced to the room. Hello, Mother, Mom said coolly. Sarah, I expect you to have disciplined that daughter of yours. Actually, Dad interjected, we've been discussing some interesting information Robert shared with us. Grandma's expression flickered. Robert should mind his own business. It became our business when you sabotaged my husband's career, Mom said, standing up. I don't know what nonsense Robert's been spreading. We have the emails, I interrupted. The ones where you told Hansen Corp that Dad had integrity issues. And the ones where you threatened to pull donations from State University if they offered me a scholarship, I added. Except they offered it anyway and kept it quiet from you. Grandma's face had gone white. You're making serious accusations. No, Uncle Robert said, walking in from the kitchen. We're stating facts. Facts that the family lawyer found very interesting this morning. You went to Lawrence? Grandma looked genuinely shocked now. We did, Dad confirmed. He's drawing up papers to remove you as trustee from all family accounts. You can't do that. Actually, we can, Mom said. There's a morality clause in Grandpa's will. Lawrence thinks your actions constitute a clear violation. This is preposterous, Grandma sputtered. Is it? I asked, pulling out my phone. Because I have 37 witnesses who saw you assault me yesterday, plus video. Principal Harris called this morning. The school is pressing charges for disrupting a school function and assault on school property. You wouldn't dare. I already gave my statement, I said calmly. The police will probably be contacting you today. After everything I've done for this family. You mean after everything you've done to this family, Uncle Robert corrected. Get out, Dad said quietly, and don't come back unless you're ready to apologize and make amends. Apologize? Grandma looked genuinely baffled by the concept. Yes, Mom said firmly, though I doubt we'll accept. This isn't over, Grandma threatened, grabbing her purse. You need me more than I need you. That's where you're wrong, I replied. We don't need you at all. 6 months later, I was thriving at State University when Zoe called with the news. Have you seen it? She asked excitedly. Seen what? Check your email, now. I opened my laptop to find a forwarded news article. Prominent philanthropist Eleanor Taylor removed from hospital board amid financial misconduct allegations. Holy crap, I breathed. It gets better, Zoe continued. Apparently she's being investigated for tax fraud going back years, and 3 other charities are reviewing their relationship with her. Dad was right, I murmured. Everything eventually comes to light. That evening, my parents and Uncle Robert came to campus for dinner. The change in them was remarkable. Mom smiled more. Dad stood taller. The family lawyer called, Dad announced over dessert. The judge ruled in our favor. Your grandmother has been removed as trustee. What happens now? I asked. Now, Uncle Robert said, raising his glass. We rebuild without her shadow hanging over us. She sent me a letter, Mom admitted quietly, demanding we call off the lawyers, threatening to expose family secrets if we don't. What did you do? I asked. Mom smiled. I sent it back with a note saying, no thank you. We all laughed, and for the first time in years it felt like genuine freedom. Later that night, as I walked my family to their car, Dad pulled me aside. I'm proud of you, Mackenzie. Standing up to her took courage. I learned from you and Mom, I replied. Even when you were struggling, you never compromised your integrity. Your grandmother will face consequences for her actions, he said. But the greatest consequence is losing this family. Do you think she realizes what she's lost? Some people never do, Dad said sadly. They're so focused on control that they can't see the damage they cause until it's too late. As I watched them drive away, I thought about cycles, how they continue until someone has the courage to break them. That night, I sat down at my computer and began writing my story. Not for Grandma, not for anyone else, but for myself. 3 years later, I graduated with honors. Grandma wasn't there, of course. The last we'd heard, she was living alone, most of her social connections severed after her financial manipulations became public. She never apologized, never acknowledged her behavior, and we never expected her to. But we were there. Mom, Dad, Uncle Robert, Zoe, and many others who had supported me through everything. We celebrated not just my academic achievement, but our collective freedom from toxic control. Sometimes, the greatest revenge isn't about making someone suffer. It's about thriving without them and breaking the power they once held over you. As for Grandma, I heard she still tells anyone who'll listen that we abandoned her in her time of need. But we know the truth. And in the end, that's what matters. So I ask you, if someone who's supposed to love you uses that love as a weapon, at what point do you decide your freedom is worth more than their approval? The comments section awaits your thoughts.